right, guys, I know we're very excited about this, and if you're not excited about this, get excited about this because it's exciting, all right? It's very exciting. And what I'm talking about here is Michael Porter Jr. I'm talking about the fact that we are all waiting to see how far he could go this season, and he's just given us these brilliant clips of his progress coming back from injury. A lot of times we get these players that we think are going to be absolute studs, and sometimes they're unlucky and end up losing their career to injury. But I don't think Michael Porter Jr. is going to be that case. In fact, he doesn't look like his back injury is slowing him down at all. Now, guys, before we get to this clip and what I'm talking about, I'm going to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, manscaped.com. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever damn near nicked your ball sack or completely ended up chopping your dick off? Well, there's a company here that's sole mission is to prevent this from ever happening again, and they are called Manscaped. Manscaped designed a perfect shaver to ensure that you never nick your balls again, called the Lawnmower 2.0. And as you can see, it's also waterproof, and you could use it on other areas other than just your balls. Now, this company is so legitimate that they were able to secure a huge investment from Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. And I also got a promo code for you guys to use for 20% off. Use promo code TheflightMike to get yourself a nice little discount whenever you shop for Manscaped products. What's going on, guys? Your boy the Flight Mike here, and like I was saying, Michael Porter Jr. is a player that's very near and dear to my heart. The reason being is I never like seeing a player lose his potential over injury. It sucks, and we all know what happened coming out of Missouri. Well, before Missouri, coming out of high school, Michael Porter Jr. was the #1 prospect in the nation. Well, at least he was before Marvin Bagley III reclassified to the 2017 class, but let me give you an idea of where my man is standing. Michael Porter Jr. was ranked #2 in a recruiting class that put him ahead of players like DeAndre Ayton, Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter, Colin Sexton, Jaren Jackson Jr., who was the #4 overall pick a year ago. Marvin Bagley was the #2 overall pick a year ago. And of course, DeAndre Ayton was the #1 overall pick of last year. And Michael Porter Jr. was supposed to be better than all of them. Now, I don't like putting a lot of stock into high school recruiting rankings because, well, a lot of times the recruiting classes just don't translate over to the NBA level. But I do like looking at this because one thing that recruiting class rankings do tell very well is how good a player's potential is. That means the very best version of Michael Porter Jr. is going to be way better than the very best version of DeAndre Ayton, assuming they both fulfill that potential. The same goes to Marvin Bagley III. If he is able to fulfill his potential, then I think he could be better than DeAndre Ayton. Now, again, whether a player fulfills his potential or not is a very, very big if. A lot of the times it just doesn't happen. It's a combination of a player being in the right situation for themselves and also really having the work ethic to fulfill his potential. The only case, I can only think of 2 cases that come into mind, and I guess let me know in the comment section if I'm forgetting any players. The only 2 cases that pop into my head in the modern NBA of players fulfilling their potential is 1, LeBron James, and 2, Stephen Curry. Steph Curry, especially because we didn't expect him to be anything special at the NBA level. We expected him to be a volume scorer at the point guard position, but he ended up being that and so much more. Now, of course, I'm probably forgetting of some other players, but I digress because I was just trying to make an example here. Now, the reason I'm giving you this background information is because Michael Porter Jr. just practiced with the Denver Nuggets, and I actually have to give a shout out to one of my followers because my boy Mikhail Beals actually tagged me in this footage of Michael Porter Jr. doing work on Instagram, which brings me to my next bit of info, guys. If you follow me on Instagram, you ever see a piece of NBA news that you think deserves to be covered, please tag me in it. It's at TheflightMike. Also, we're doing a giveaway on at TheflightMike. Once we get to 10,000 followers, I'm going to be giving away a pair of Off-White Air Jordan 1s. Now, I'm going to stop talking because I think it's time that you guys see what Michael Porter Jr. did in practice for yourself. The first being a crazy dunk. Well, not a crazy dunk, but a dunk on Nikola Jokic nonetheless. But what I want you guys to pay attention to here is Michael Porter Jr.'s mobility. Take a look, guys.
See you, pal. How you doing, buddy? There was going to be some bumps and hiccups on the first Someone asked something. It was at 10 minutes. I'm like, if I don't cut it, two more games, he's going to be exactly. I can't ever win.
So as you guys can see, man, the guy is looking really good. And again, the Denver Nuggets were a number 2 seed without him last year. Now, the Nuggets are a great team. We already know that their go-to players are Nikola Jokic and Paul Millsap. They don't have that go-to wing scorer yet. Of course, Will Barton sometimes steps in and takes over, and they do have Jamal Murray stepping up and doing his thing. But the reason I really like where the Denver Nuggets are trending is they aren't a one-man show. There isn't one guy that's always going to demand the ball in his hands, but they do have a bunch of players that are really good at doing specific things. Paul Millsap is a very scrappy player that could also score whenever you need him to. He's also a great veteran presence. Nikola Jokic is one of the most unusual and interesting, I'd even go as far as to say that he's a unicorn in his own right, because he's a big man that is able to find his teammates and create for other players of his team. Of course, Jamal Murray brings that tenacity on both ends of the floor and could also find his teammates and is a great scorer. But in Michael Porter Jr., you get a player, a very rare type of player, and I know it's really annoying when people do this, when YouTubers and analysts say stuff like this, but he was built in the mold of a very Kevin Durant-esque type of player. Now, I can't go on to call him the next version of Kevin Durant because every player is their own player. They're their own version of themselves. But he does have an ability to score. He is very long, and he has a very large wingspan. And the importance of this, the one thing that's very important for Michael Porter Jr. going into this season will be his ability to take his skill set and see if it translates on the next level. We didn't see him really perform in college. We didn't see him perform in the NBA. All we know is his teammates are saying that this guy is balling out. Now, guys, I really want to get your opinion on Michael Porter Jr. We made another video on him in the past, so if you haven't checked that out, I'm going to leave a link to that in the description down below or in the annotation section for you guys to check out. Also, before I dip, guys, very big announcement. I actually created a Patreon. So from here on out, I'm going to start doing like a nice little shout out section for those that want to go to my Patreon and support me. I have no patrons so far, so if you're a guy that regularly comes to my channel and you want to see me step up my content and you want to be a part of me stepping up my content, go on to my Patreon link. I'll leave it in the description down below. And besides that, guys, I'm your boy, TheflightMike, and I'll catch you guys later.